everybody, my name is Eric Hopkins and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're finding me for the very first time, please click that like and subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you get all the notifications about when I put up new content right here on this channel. So this is kind of a topic that I really wanted to avoid if at all possible. But as a Star Wars fan, I feel like it's an important thing to address, but it's also a question that I feel like we as a society need to start asking ourselves, when is enough going to be enough here? So let's take another look over here at JediNews.com to reference the article I'm discussing here. Disney asked for Slave One to be renamed Boba Fett Starship. The name Slave One is no more. Long live Boba Fett Starship. With the release of Boba Fett's iconic ship in its latest LEGO incarnation, you will notice that the name Slave One has been dropped on the box in favor of Boba Fett Starship as directed by Disney. During LEGO Fan Media Days last month, the people of this article asked about the new LEGO, change on the box to the lead designers of the LEGO set here, and they asked, the next one, also from The Mandalorian, is Boba Fett Starship. Yes, I built another, they said. We're not calling it Slave One anymore. This is Boba Fett Starship. They asked, okay, why are we dropping the Slave One name? Everybody is, they explained. It's probably not something which has been announced publicly, but it is just something that Disney doesn't want to use anymore. So, and of course, they had more, images down here of the actual set, which is awesome because the ship is amazing. And it's been like that since the early 80s. So after all these years, Disney has now decided they want to stop calling it Slave One. So my thoughts on this. Obviously, as a big Star Wars fan, I have always known Boba Fett's ship as Slave One. I understand today's culture that we live in. I don't know if you could call it cancel culture. You could call it just the way our society has, I don't know if you want to say evolved or devolved. It depends on how you look at things. I get the name not necessarily sitting well with a lot of folks, especially when it comes to PR and the Disney brand. I'm sure Disney doesn't want to associate themselves with that. That being said, while I understand that, this is just what it's always been known as. I don't think anybody looks at Slave One, the ship, and thinks about slavery and racism. I don't think that comes to mind. Not to mention, where does this stop? In Star Wars alone, the Death Star, I believe, was built by, slaves or people who didn't want to build the ship. The Geonosians, for sure. And I believe even in some material, they talk about how Wookiees were used to build the Death Star. I don't know how much canon that is. But, so the Death Star itself. So do we start calling the Death Star, the big moon-like ship that destroys planets? I mean, do we stop calling it the Death Star? Does that go to offend people now? And not only that, the main, character in the series, Anakin Skywalker, was a slave on Tatooine in Episode 1. And, slavery is in the Star Wars canon. Or not to mention there was a whole race of, people on a planet in the Clone Wars who were slavers. They would take people and put them to work and things like that. So, and of course, the character of Anakin Skywalker despised those people and, because of his past. So, at what point is Disney going to just retcon all of Star Wars? I mean, where does this end? And we could talk about this with a bunch of different things when it comes to our culture these days. It's always got to cancel this. People are offended by that. It's like, at what point are we going to grow some thick skin here and stop changing things for the sake of changing things just because someone gets offended? Now, again, I understand it, but at the same time, it's like, most people are just like, it's not a big deal. Just move on. We can't continue to change our history. What happened, happened. Was it good? Absolutely not. But at some point, we have to learn from that history instead of trying to act like it never happened. That's the mature way to handle things. And I hope that the society we live in will start to understand that that's the best way to move forward from such travesties. Of course, I understand people were upset about it. And of course, everything in our politics today is all about racism this, racism that, trying to divide people. And it's just a sad state of affairs right now. And I don't like to get political here on my channel or anything like that. But I just feel like, at some point, we've got to come together as a society, love one another, and stop fighting. That's all there is to it. We may not always agree. We don't have to agree. That's the beauty of this country, I think. But of course, I'm speaking as an American, and I'm sure there's people all over the world who have differences and things like that. But I'm speaking purely from this country's standpoint here. It seems like here in the States we are constantly at odds with each other, and I think it just really needs to stop. We don't have to agree on things, and I don't agree with a lot of people. A lot of people probably don't agree with me, and those of you watching right now may not agree with what I'm saying right now, and that's totally fine. I just feel like that as a culture, we need to stop with all this. So in regards to changing the name of Slave One, I understand the name is, not the greatest, but it's always been that way since the 1980s. No one had a single problem with it until now. So I don't understand why all of a sudden now we have to go and change things. That's in Star Wars, circles, tradition. And not only that, and I understand the Slave One Starship was not called Slave One in the movies ever. So that right there is not a big deal. But it was referenced as Slave One in a few episodes of the Clone Wars. So it is canon. Now, if you wanted to change the Starship and you wanted Boba Fett to have another ship, maybe you destroy Slave One in the beginning of the Book of Boba Fett or something like that. They had no trouble destroying the Razor Crest in Season 2 of The Mandalorian. Small spoiler, after everybody bought those Legos. So why not? I just don't understand why this all of a sudden has to be a problem. It seems like nowadays we'll dredge up things from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, be like, we got to change that. We can't have that no more. It's like, I think we just need to, grow up a little bit and not have such thin skin about a lot of these things, and just kind of, move forward and learn from our mistakes. And that's the best way to do it, because those of us who don't, learn about our history, we are doomed to repeat it. So I hope that everybody will, have, stronger heads will prevail in these sort of situations. But with the way things are going, I am not super optimistic about that. But here, the real question here is, guys, what do you guys think about Disney? Basically, it sounds like they are mandating that we have to change the name now of Boba Fett's ship from Slave One to just generic Boba Fett Starship. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about this entire mess. I'm sorry if I bored you with some of my political stuff here. I really don't want to get into all that on my channel. I try to avoid it as much as possible, but this is one of those situations where it kind of bled over into the world of movie news, so I wanted to at least address it. So please comment down below. Let me know what you guys think, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you get all the notifications about when I put up new content right here on this channel. And until my next video, guys, take care. We about to turn it on.